So right now, we want to be able to add some materials to this particular place. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my move tool to select this. I'm going to bring this up to this place. I'm pressing G and moving my mouse to bring it close to this place. You see, you have to move around to be sure where your 3D objects are. So you might think they are somewhere, but they're not there. So I want it to be under this place. I'm going to scale this out. So now I have this. Now there are four different viewport mode. What we'll call them are different the viewport shading mode. So the first mode is the wireframe mode over here, which enables you to see through your shapes, your meshes. And here you have your solid mode. Solid mode just shows you the color, the objects without color on it. While this material mode simply shows you what color you exactly have on your objects or your 3D models at a particular time. So right now they just have plain white color or texture on them. And the last one here is a rendered mode. Rendered mode will show you everything, and even the color. If you have color like lights, I don't have any light in this scene. You see everywhere is dark. So when you start adding lights, you see the beauty of this thing. So the render mode will show you exactly what you're going to see at the end of your work. You understand? After you have finished doing anything you're doing. So now I'll go back to my material mode. That's where I need to be. We have been working in object mode. Now I want us to go to material mode. In the material mode, we will need to this is where when we add any color to any object, we're going to see it. So the first thing here, to add color or to add a texture, or also what we call shading. All right, I'm going to tell you the difference. Now we'll have what we call shading and we'll have what we call texture. So shading and texture, they are almost the same thing. Shading is basically using the materials inside Blender by default. There are materials that are inside Blender by default. Those things are called shaders. All right, so you find those things here, but generally we call them materials. So the materials can contain both shaders and textures. Textures are the pictures you're going to put on your object. Let's say, for example, we want this floor to be a grass, to have the color of grass. Okay, we're going to get a picture of grass, maybe green grass, and then we'll actually put that picture inside here. That picture is called a texture. All right. So, but then let's say, for example, we have a window and the window is going to be glass. That glass material, okay, is also called a shader. All right. Generally, we call them materials. So they can be either any kind of material, glass material, metallic material, wooden material, any kind of material. So it's just the texture or the color of your object. That's what shading and texturing is all about. So right now I have this. Let me start with the floor. I'm going to make the floor green. So if I select this floor, to do that, you go to your material properties here, this option here. By default, you have not added any particular thing on it before. You will just see that it's going to be blank this way. So you can just click on new and it's going to give you a blank one. So you can click in here and let's call it our green floor. And now we can just come in here. Now there are various properties. If you look at your surface, currently we just have what we call the principles BSDF. That's what it's using right now, this particular one here. But you can actually use things like glass material, emission that if you want it to be glowing like light. So you see your glass, we'll have other ones, a lot of them that will have transparent if you want just be transparent. But the one we're going to be using is principle. That's the one we'll be using mostly. So if you come down to the base color here, if you click here, remember we have changed this to material mode. So if I change the color, you will see the color now. If I click on base color, you see any color I choose. If I drag this down, it's going to become darker. So any color I choose, you actually see it in the viewport. So in case you're not seeing this, make sure you are in the material viewport before doing that particular thing I'm doing right now. So now we have the green color. Okay, the lights are not affecting. This one will just give us a default light, but this is not the real light. That's the one that will be rendered into a video. So over here we'll have other features like things like, in fact, the two major things I always touch is the metallic and the roughness. So the metallic is basically, if you bring it up, it's going to make this place metallic, like it start acting like a metal. So but you won't see the effect so much now until we turn on some features. Now let's go and turn on those features. So currently we are using what we call the EV render. If I click here, if you come in here, we'll have the EV render. We'll have the cycles too, but the one we're using currently, EV. So it's going to work well on most of your systems, except you have a system that has a graphics card, then it's going to be easy for you to run the cycles engine. So EV is a real-time engine. We're going to come to rendering later, but I just want you to see what is really happening here. So for us to see the metallic effects that we are seeing that is happening here, we'll have to go to render, and then by default this is turned off, but you have to turn them on. So I'm going to click on ambient occlusion. If you are using recent versions of Blender, you might not see this bloom, but this bloom just makes light to glow. That's what it does. Then we'll have the screen space. If you look at, whenever I turn on the screen space, if you look very well on my floor, you see that it becomes a bit more shiny. That's the effect. If you open this, there is also refraction there, so you can turn that on too. So this is just making things metallic. So I can just bring this up to my floor here. Let's bring it down a bit. So let's go back to our materials. I just want to turn that on so you see the effect of the materials that we are working on. So if you go down, we have turned on the metallic, although your floor shouldn't be metallic, but we're doing that for now. And we can also, if you increase your roughness, it will be plain, but if you want it to be shiny, you reduce your roughness. If you look at now, it's more like a glass material. So this is just like a shader that is, uses mathematical equations to be able to create some kind of effect. Okay, so if you want to put a glass material, you can do that. So but right now we want to be able to create, let's imagine that we want to create some kind of tiles around here. So let's make it like a tile. So if you want to make it like a tile, okay, well, let's bring this up a bit and reduce the metallic nature a bit. So if you look at here, to add a texture, like I told you, we'll have shaders and textures. If you click here, you have different shaders. Look at them, all of them, the principles, BSDF shader. Okay, you have different shaders, BSDF, refraction, they'll have the glass shader, all these are shaders. But within the shader you can add a texture. So I'm going to add a texture now, but this texture can be a picture. If you click on this yellow thing here beside the base color, you can be able to click, and then you have a material, a texture that you can add. As you see here, we'll have different textures. So these ones are textures that come, with Blender. But then we'll have the image texture. If you want to add an image, like a picture of maybe a wooden wall, all right, maybe a wooden plane, a wooden picture, you can be able to use to make a particular object to look like wooden material or wooden object. Okay, so let's say for example you create a tree, you want it to have the back of a tree, you get a picture of that back of a tree, and that's, you add it from here. We're going to come to that part later, but right now I just simply want to add a checker material, a checker texture. So watch what the checker texture will do. It's going to give me something like this. If you go down here, you see the options. So we can bring this down to make it black, and this one is already white. So you can always change the color to whatever you want it to be. So over here now, we can be able to look at the scale that we'll have here. We can make this to be about, let's say 20. And you see 1,000 more. So we'll have something that looks like this. So you can use this outside, or you can use it inside the house. Any one you actually want, you can do that. So for now, let's use it outside, and I think I will go for about 40. Then here you can change the color to any color you like. You can make it blue if you want to, or red, any color you actually like. You can be able to make it, but I think white should be okay for now. Now let's go into our house and put some colors on it. So if I go to the house, if I click on new, let me call it house. Now what it will do is that it will add one single texture to all of this particular object. So now I can just come in here and say, okay, I want my house to be instead of milk color, and you see that it takes that particular color. Now what about if we want the roof to be black or maybe red? Okay, now that's something else we now have to do. So to do that, we can just come in and we're going to enter into edit mode. But before we enter into it, we need to create the material that we're going to use. So if you come in here, look at here, we can be able to create a new material. This is the house. If you come up to this place, because when you start for the first time, if you are creating a material for the first time, it's going to have this new. But if you have created the first one, you have already one existing. But you can create multiple materials for a particular object. Like this house now has the material called house. Now we also want to get another one, so I'm going to click on plus. Look at the plus over here. Click on plus, and I will click on new again, and I'm going to type roof. And when I want to use this roof, let's say for example this roof is white currently, okay, by default. Now to use it on this place, I'll have to enter into edit mode from here, or you press tab on your keyboard, and we want to be able to use our face selection mode to select this face. Now if you start selecting this face one by one, like you see now, it's going to take time. So there are two ways you can select. The first way is your C selection mode, your C select. So C select, if you go to select here, you actually see your C select. Let's see here, look at it, C select, the shortcut is C. If you click on it, it will bring up this for you. I'm scrolling right now to increase the size that it can be able to select. So if I click now, it's going to select many of them all at once. That is one of the fastest way of selecting things. But if you don't want to do that, you can simply use one face, select this place, and you can use select more. Look at it there. You will start selecting more continuously. Now if I press Ctrl plus, if you have a numbers keypad, that place you have numbers by the right side of your, not the numbers at the top of your alphabet, the one at the right side. If your system has it, if you press Ctrl plus, that big plus, you see that it starts selecting it, okay? So, but I'm not going to use it because I know that some of you don't have that. So I will prefer to use C select and just select, all the things I need. So just know that you can also select with that. So with this roof, I want to select this side. So I can start selecting here one by one, but that will waste my time. So to select more than that, I'll hold down shift, hold down. If you hold down shift, you can be selecting more, okay? But if you want to select all of this, you can just hold down shift, then press alt on your keyboard. Now don't click at the center here, click in between here, so that it will know that you want to get exactly everything here. If you click here, it will get it vertically. It will just get everything vertically. Let me say like this. If it won't even be able to go around because it doesn't have any other one. Let me see. If I click now, you see what's happening. It will select from here to there. That's not what we want. Let me do Ctrl Z. We want you to select just around this place. So to do that, I'm going to hold down shift, hold down alt, and I will click here. Immediately I click there, you see that it's selected everything around the roof. So those are the things you need to know. Let's see if it will be able to also work here. Alt, you click on the line in between both of them, and it also selects everything here, if you can look at it. But I don't think we need to do that for this place. Okay, I think the roof can also get there. So let's do that here and here. So it will select everything. So now we are selecting this so that we can add our roof material to the roof. So if I get the material now, I'm in edit mode. Make sure in edit mode when you're doing this. Click on the roof and you click on assign. If you look at what is happening now, the roof is now white. Why the floor is that new color that we actually added it. So if I get this, I can simply say, okay, I want my roof to be red. So you could do that. You click and then you just go for red. If you want it to be shiny like a metallic surface, you can go to the metallic and increase the metallic now. If you want it to be more shiny, you can be able to go down here and you have a very shiny kind of roof over here. So let's get into the house and see what is happening here. So we'll have several things here. So let's say, for example, we want to add some materials to this guy. We can select this one and then we can click on new. Let's call this bookshelf. And I will make it to be brown. So we'll have something like this. So we're going to be adding normal materials without complex textures on it for now. For the table, the same thing, we're going to just do table. Now we want to make the table to have different colors. So look at what we're going to do. I'm going to make the top of the table to be black, while the other parts of it will be brown. Okay, so if I just come in, I can just
So
what I
I can't
want to do
hear
right.
you. Or I can't hear you. I can't see your screen anymore.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Oh.
Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll have this here. So I'm going to add the table. This one will be the brown color for the entire table. Just something like that. So watch how I'm adding multiple materials now. So I'm going to add another one, call it tabletop. I click on plus, click here, tabletop. Click and hold shift and click. So I want to select the other part. I will use my control plus, or you can simply use select more, and it will start selecting more of this. I need to do it this way so that it's going to be easy for me to select. So I can use control plus, so just know exactly what I'm doing. What's happening here? I just did control Z. It seems like it went beyond what I wanted. So let me okay, let me see. Control plus. I want you to just stop just there, and then I can select the tabletop and assign this. So if you look at the tabletop, it has a different color now. So I want that tabletop to be a black color. So if I click here in the base color, I can bring this down to become a black color here. So we'll have something like this. Then for our chair, we're going to select it and we can just click here and put our chair. So for our chair, we're going to make it to be just be black color. So just drop it there. And then we also want here to be a bit shiny. Let's say the handle. If I select this, I can enter into edit mode. So these handles now, I want them to be shiny, like metallic. So I'm going to go to my materials for my table top. If I click on this, I can call this my table handle. Enter into edit mode. Use my face selection and select this and this. I'm selecting just the front one. Just click one, hold shift, select. Click, hold shift, keep holding shift, selecting all of them. This and this. Now we can go and do select more. It's going down inside it now. Select more. So we'll have this affecting all of these parts. So now we can select this table handle and we'll just apply, and you see what's happening there. We can now go and, like I told you about the metallic, we can increase the metallic, and we can actually go and reduce the roughness, and we'll have a metallic kind of draw there. For our laptop, let's say this laptop is going to be a black laptop, or I think I will use ash this time around so that it doesn't so it comes out of the floor, because the table is already black. So I'm going to call it laptop. And I would like to make this to be a black color, sorry, an ash color. Just move there. And I think I need to also reduce the roughness a bit and increase the metallic nature a bit, something like this. So you have something like that. Now I want to use the same thing is here on this one here, okay? So you can just simply select this, and if you look at, instead of using new, I can just come in here, click, and you see all the materials have been added since. Look at all the materials. So I can just click on laptop and automatically it gets laptop too, okay? And the buttons, the keys, I'll click on that and call it my keys or keyboard, and I think I will leave it at that white. I like the white that I'm seeing. Now for the screen here, if you look at here, it has, the screen is almost the same color. I want to make this place to be a bit darker, all right, to be like a screen. So I can enter into edit mode. Before I enter, let me create a material for the screen. I will click on plus, click on new, and call this my screen. So for my screen, I'm going to just come in and take it down to probably a black color, but let me add it first. Enter into edit mode from here if you want to, or you press tab on your keyboard, and then assign it. You just select this face for the screen and assign. That's how you assign multiple materials. So one object can have multiple materials. So you have this now. So now let's go down here and just click on base color and take it down. But it's not reflective. You know, laptop faces are quite reflective. So I can go down to my roughness, take it down to 0. So we'll have something more interesting. We can even increase the metallic surface a bit, just a tiny bit. So we'll have something like this. If we feel like these keys are not good, we can change them to black. Let's see what they will look like in black. Okay, I think they look cool. We can use them as black. So we have a very nice looking office, and we'll have our shelf. We're going to come to the books later. To make this place to look more interesting, we can actually add the floor. I think what I'll do is I'm going to switch the outside world thing here with this one inside here. So let me just do that. So I'm going to select the outer wall and I will remove this checkerboard on it. To remove it, you just come in here, click here, and you see disconnect. So right now we just have a green floor because I want to put that checker inside this house. So let's go into the house now and put that checker inside it. So over here, I'm going to go up, click on the plus, add my floor. And for the floor, I'm going to add a base texture, add a checker. All right. Now before I can use this, I will enter into edit mode, select this floor, make sure you're using your face, select the floor. I think the floor is, let me push these guys down a bit so I'll see, and also go back to my solid mode. So I want to see the floor. Okay, I think the floor is not visible because I've applied a solidify modifier to it. So I'm pressing H to hide this. So look at here, this is where you see the floor from under. Over here, the solidify has covered it. What we call the solidify modifier. We did in the last class. If you have not watched the video, please go watch it, because a lot of things you if you miss them in the last class, you won't be able to understand what I'm doing here. So I'm going to select from here. Remember I told you about the C select. You press it on your keyboard, or you just go to select and then you just click on C select. So you just select whatever you want. It gives you the ability to select more things. Once you are done, you just right click and to stop selecting. That selection tool will just appear. And now let's go back to our material viewport, and let's select the floor now and assign. So if you look at the floor now, you see that it has that checker board. So we can now come in here and make this to be, we can make it any color we like. Let's say we make it red. And let's increase the tile to about, let's say 18. So we'll have something like this. So now we can just come in here and go on to let's see if we can be able to increase the metallic and also reduce the roughness. I want the floor to be a bit shiny, just a tiny bit shiny, like that. Okay, so we'll have this. So for the books, you can simply start selecting the books and giving them any kind of color you like, however you want it. So I can click on this and do my books. And the books, I want them to be black, but the one in the center is going to be white. So if you bring it down, come down here and just enter into edit mode. Now, lucky for us, we already selected this part when we are shooting it. So it's already selected. If not, you will have to bring it out. Let me bring it out in case you don't have that luxury. So if you can select here, here, and at the top, hold shift and be selecting them, please. You can click on plus sign, create a new material. This one will be book white. Let me call it book white, or inner pages. So for inner pages, I've selected this, so I'm just going to assign it that white color. So right now you're going to see that we'll have a library with books that have black back cover and white inside. So we can just simply just duplicate and just put this over here. So I think that does it for us. So we'll have something like this. We don't have any window yet, but we'll just leave those windows for now. Let's go to our AC. Our AC is actually hidden. I didn't even notice him. So let's get our AC. We'll click on new and get our AC. And I think this AC, let's just make it a bit, although it's meant to be white, I just want the color to become obvious. So bring up the metallic and reduce the roughness, and that's too much. So we'll have something like this just above it. So if you have any other color that you want, I don't have a reference here, you can put the color around it to make it look a bit different. Let's say for example we want to add a color here. All right, so I don't know if AC usually have that kind of color, but let's imagine we have AC, let's call it black, and then we'll just assign it to that. And once you assign it in edit mode, select that particular face, click on the material and assign. We'll just come in here and just bring this down so we can do something like that. Okay, so that's just basically the thing here about adding materials. So do you have any questions so far? We're not adding textures yet. We are just adding base textures like simple materials. We have not even started adding like wooden textures and other things there. So once you have this now, you're good to go. So the second thing I want to talk about is basic lighting. All right. So if you look at your scene right now, it has the light that comes with your viewports, your material viewport mode. So, but if you want to be able to see, okay, Festus, yes, what's the problem? Festus, are you speaking? Festus, you want to speak or should I continue? All right, so if I come in here, let me press my Alt H to bring back my floor. So I have my floor here. So you have the nice floor. So we'll have this here.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Sorry, my phone was hanging. I couldn't. So I wanted to. I didn't see, even though I was seeing how you were adding all those material, but I didn't see how you switched in the first place to the material mode.
Okay, probably you didn't come early. So look at up here. We'll have the the wireframe mode. Okay, we'll have the solid mode, and over here we'll have the material viewport mode. That's the thing at the top. Have you seen it? At the top here. I can't hear you any longer. Maybe you type in the.
I've seen it, sir.
Okay, no problem.
I've seen it.
All right. So for now, I'm going to this is our starting project. We're going to just leave it aside. We want to be able to work on this. So we want to do basic lighting on our scene. So the basic lighting is, imagine if I want to animate something here. All right. Let's say I want to animate a car, or let's say an object coming into this place. All right. I want to have some lights, basic light, because right now this is not light. This is just plain stuff. So we're going to do our basic lights so that I want this scene to look a bit more interesting. Okay. So to do that, I'll enter into my render mode. So in my render mode, this is what the scene is going to look like when I render it. So I want to look more beautiful. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my 3D cursor, click, and I'm going to click inside here because I want to add a light here. And I'm going to add my this thing here, my point light. I'm going to start with point light. So if I bring my point light, let me just take it up. I'll press G on my keyboard and move my mouse up. So right now, if I begin to increase, if you look at the properties, once you select your light, you'll see the light properties at this place here. Okay, this is your object properties. So I can increase, let's say for example I increase to 222. So you see the light is coming in. So you can go for that color. that intensity. But I think I will go for 2200. So we'll have something like this. Now see the interesting part now. So we can be able to push this light to one side. So it's as if the light is coming from one side. But beyond that, we want to be able to change the color. If you go to the color here, you can change the color of your light. So you can have something far more interesting than what you already have before. So you can use a light to change the mood of your scene. So something like this. If you look at it from outside now, you see that something is happening inside this place. Now this is your basic light. So we actually have about 4 types of light. We'll have the point light, the sunlight, the spotlight. Let me put the sun. The sun is basically like the sun from outside. You see it shines from outside. While the spotlight will just cast a spot. You know, if you are doing all those places where people are dancing, you can use this. And then you have your area lights. The area light is just a light that is, imagine if I was trying to cast a light from outside this building and into the building. That would be the best light I'm going to use. I can do something like this. It will just be casting light. If you look at what is happening now, it's as if the light is just coming in from outside. So let me show you. Let me just go back a bit, scale, rotate it. So we'll have something like this. So with this, if you just go in here, you see how the light is. We need to come closer for it to become more effective. So we'll have something like this. So if that's the feel you're looking for, you can do that. But for now, what I'm looking for is just to have my lights, point lights, that is just uneven around the entire place. I think I'll just go down a bit. Okay, so we'll have something like this. So another thing is the environment. If you look at the world, it's just plain color, all right? So we're going to add what we call the world lights, all right? The environment lighting. So to do that, this is your environment over here, and we can click on the environment, and we're going to click on color, all right? If you actually change here, if you click here, you can change it to a blue background. If you look at that, different kind of colors. And strength is the intensity of that background. So if you bring it down, you see that the only light you're seeing now is the light inside of my building. So if you increase, you see that outside is putting light here, okay? So the thing I want to do is to click on this place and get what we call the sky texture. These are textures that come with Blender, all right? We're going to be talking about outside textures later. So I'm going to put sky texture. So once you put your sky texture, you need to change here from Nishiti to either Pretend or this one. So let me use the first one, Pretend. So you see your sky now. And we need to decrease the strength of our sky. Let's make it to be about 0.2, something like that. So if you actually look around, you see that you have the building. If you want to make a night scene, you can just bring it down more to something like that. So this is what we actually have in this scene. And we have not even added a single texture yet. So to make this far more complicated or more interesting, we can be able to just come in. Let's add some text. We have been modeling things. We have not added our text. So let's add some text here. So I can use my 3D cursor and click at the back here. I'll press Shift A. And if you come down here, you can be able to see your text. These are text here. If I add it, by default, once it comes in, it's always lying down. So you need to rotate it to make it stand up. RX, that's what I'm going to use. 90. It will just stand up. You see, it's not the way I want it to be. So I want to rotate it for the T to be in the dash. Because right now it's like you are seeing from the opposite side. I don't want it that way. I want it to rotate. To rotate like that, you have to rotate on the x-axis, the z-axis. The z-axis is the one that is standing straight like this. So if you press RZ, if you move, it will rotate like this. So you just do 1 180. Just rotate it the other way around. RZ180. That's the thing you have to type. So you can just bring this. I can enter into edit mode to change the text. Once I enter into edit mode, you can go over here and do it manually. And then I can just come in here and just do HP. So let's say we want to use it like that. Let's see. I think it's BHP. So if you want to extrude it to make it bigger, all right, you see that it's plain. To make it three-dimensional, you can just come to your object data for your text, click on it, go to geometry. Once you go to geometry, click on extrude, and it will just extrude it for you. So you can now carry this and embed this inside here, like that. Let's scale it down more. To make this to keep on moving around with the laptop, as you have clicked it and you hold it, click on the laptop and press Ctrl P, and you just do keep transform, meaning that each time you move this one, that HP goes around. That's what parenting really means. But you can also still select this one and still move it out on its own because it's just a child, not part of it. So I'll select this. I want this to be metallic, so I'm going to go to my materials again. Remember, we are working with materials and lights today. Click on new, and I will just call this my text, and I want it to be just a shiny text. So just take this up, and if you look at what is happening, and the roughness down. If this thing doesn't look good, if you look at here, the edges are very sharp. You can actually go back to this mode here, that's the text, and you can go down to where you have bevel. Look at your depth here, and you can increase it a bit. See, the edges now are better. So we'll have something like this. So if you want this to become more interesting, let's say we duplicate a few things to get this office very busy. So I can just do click here, hold shift, click and click and click and click. What else are we missing? Okay, we're missing this guy at the back. Click here to, I'm holding shift to click all this. Let me be sure there is nothing I'm missing. Now I want to duplicate, but I'm not going to use shift D this time around. I'm going to use alt D. And the reason why I'm using alt D is because I want whatever I do on any of these objects is going to affect the other ones. That's the goal. So if tomorrow I come and put a texture here, like a texture of maybe leather texture on top of this place, it will reflect on all of them. All right, so we call it linked duplication. So shift D is for normal duplication, while alt D, if you press alt D now, there are two. Let me press X to lock it on the X-axis. So you see here, I have this here now. Let's R and Z and 90. So you see that you have that there. So let's say, for example, we'll put this somewhere there. And let's say we want to also put another one here. Alt D again. And just drag this to this place. So let's also put one more somewhere there. Alt D, click, and just drag this here. RZ90. Okay, I think I need to rotate it. RZ180. To rotate it 180 degrees, so I can put this somewhere here. So let's say this is the person in the center. For whatever reason, he should be in the center. I don't know. So we can just push this. Remember, these ones are parented already, so it doesn't really matter. It's going to work very well. So if you look at my office, let me select this building and hide it. If you look at my office, this is what you're going to be seeing. Let's do Alt H and bring it back. So we'll have a house with some nice environment. So you can put a character, you can put almost any kind of thing inside this place. All right, so let me stop for a while. Record that. So once you duplicate it and you scale it up a bit, just scale it up a bit, you can just create the outside wall and assign it. If you assign now, you see that this is white, inside is yellow. Can you see that? China, did you get that?
Yes, sir, I can see.
So that's one of the fastest way of doing. There are other ways of also doing it. So, but that one sometimes could take a bit of technicalities. But this one is the easiest and the fastest way. Should we add windows to these things? Okay. Good evening, please. Is this class being recorded? I'm so lost. Where shall we find you, my dear? Who is saying that she's lost or he's lost? Victor. Are you just coming to this class for the first time?
Yes, good evening, sir.
Evening. If you're coming for the first time, that
This is
means
my first time.
you should have access to. You're in the group, right?
Yes.
And the videos are there. You can't see it on the channel. It's hidden. So you must have to go through that our group to be able to have access to the videos. So go and search for, go through all the
Okay.
chats and search for the videos. And if you don't know where they are, you can request for them and the links will be posted again so that you watch them. Because the goal here is just the live
Okay.
class is for questions. If not, I would have been doing this on YouTube. Although we had issues on YouTube, that's the reason why we use this. But one of the key things why I use here is so that you can freely ask questions because you can't do that on YouTube. So make sure you watch the videos
Okay.
and if there's any issue, you communicate that to me.